Customer criticism, my experience. Have you ever been criticised by a customer, and how have you handled it? G'day viewers, Jeff McFleece Gardening, Melbourne, Australia. Have you ever been criticised by a customer? And how did you handle it? What did you do? Did you spit the dummy and walk, or did you kowtow and try to mend things, or was you middle of the road? Now, I've been criticised by customers over the years, and there's certain ways and actions I've taken, and it's certainly an art to get around it, because if you take it the wrong way, it can really do you over. As a contractor, as a gardener, we strive to have 100% quality every job we do, but we're not machines, we're human beings. So there'll be some days where our job is not quality of 100% like it should be. It'll be good, but there'll be times, and I've experienced it, when I've had a few down days. It's been hot, or I'm tired. You've got some other worries that you're thinking about rather than concentrating on the job. Happens to us all, and there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you rectify it. And having a bit of custom criticism, sometimes a bit of a kick up the bum and gets you going again. And it can work well if the customer criticises and you take it in the right way. There's going to be times when it won't work because the customer's just absolutely rude, and for sure that's what we're going to take immediate action. There's two scales of criticism, isn't there, that how we react. The contractor that can't be told anything, and there's a few around like that, are the stubborn ones that if they get criticised, the first thing they do is, I'm walking. No, that's it. I'm not going to take this rubbish anymore. I'm right, you're wrong, and away we go. And then you'll go to the other end of the scale where the contractor, you'll try everything to please the customer and will put up with it. And therefore you'll get walked over all the time. Me, I like to be in the middle of the road. I want to be compassionate towards the customer. I don't want to be walked over, but I don't want to be rude. I want to be a grumpy old grandpa, as my grandkids keep saying sometimes. Grandpa, you're getting grumpy. I don't want to get to that. I don't want to be that person. Look, sometimes we do, but I try to avoid it. I don't think it's good for business, and I don't think it's good for yourself well-being as well. There's three levels of criticism. The first one's a subtle one, and that's the best one. That's the ones that are done by the really good customers. We always need a little bit of criticism, a bit of foot up the backside when our standard does drop a little. Doesn't hurt. Always nice to admit that perhaps you aren't on your game. Doesn't hurt to do that, nothing wrong with it. Anyway, the subtle one is doing the lawn, for example. Use a blade cut edger to do all the edges nice and crisp. That's what we've done from day one. And when you do the lawn the first time, that's normally the standard that the customer expects. So after a while, do the blade edging, get a bit tired of using the edger because, it's a bit hot today, I'll just run around with a whippersnipper. I'm running behind, I'm rushing a bit. So I use a whippersnipper. Can do a great job. Yes, I know you're out there saying, but I can use a whippersnipper just as good as a blade edger. Good on you if you can. I can't. A blade edger gives that nice crisp edge. I can do a really good job of an edger for sure with a whippersnipper, not as good as a blade edger. Doing that for a while, and then we go back to the blade edger because I just felt like they needed tickling up a bit. So once I've done that with the blade edger, the customer comes in, Jeff, what a wonderful job. Now, they haven't said that before, other than the first time when I mowed. So there was a subtle criticism saying we really prefer the blade edger, but we don't want to upset you and tell you, but by praising you, use a positive reaction. That worked for me, and I reckon it worked for most people. So the subtle criticism, you've got to listen for the signs. You've got to pay attention to what the customer's saying. The second one, that's the one where the customer will directly criticise you. For example, Jeff, the grass, it's not short enough. We want it shorter. Now, some people would say, well, that's the way I do it. If you don't like it, that's it, I'm walking. Or maybe what I do is I'll educate the customer saying, look, I understand where you're coming from about having it short, but if you do that, this is what's going to happen. It's going to let the weeds come through. It's going to stress the lawn in the drier conditions, etc., etc. It's not a lawn where it's a bowling green, where some that got particular types of grass can be done by a cylinder mower. It looks fantastic. This is just a basic lawn. So you convince the customer that's not the way to go. Normally they'll say, oh, understand, no worries. If they're pushing for that short one, they're doing it for a reason, probably because they want more than, they want to extend the cuts out so they don't have to do as many perhaps. Then you might have to consider that customer. But I believe education is very important. Hedging, for example, the customer might say, look, we really want it down half. I said, well, if we bring it down gradually, it'll be less stress on the hedge. And if we do that, you'll have a nice hedge at the end, and they understand. Or especially if you go in too hard in conifer hedges or something like that, hedges, that they don't understand about the regrowth and they'll have problems. So if you explain to the customer when they ask for that, that'll avoid any confrontation. And it normally works out quite well. And the last one is the customer that's going to complain all the time. It's going to whinge. You left grass on the porch, leaves in the pool. Look, you mowed, you left some cuttings on the driveway. All the time there's complaints. Of course, most people say, that's it, I'm walking. Go and get another contractor. What I do first is I look at and I think to myself, did I leave grass clippings on the porch? Could I have done that better? Could I have blown down the areas better? Could I have spent more time? Could I have concentrated on the job a bit more at hand? If I believe that I did my very best and it was a good job, I'll say to the customer, look, that's the standard that we present. I have to go ahead and disagree about the grass, etc. I'm afraid we're going to have to part company. And now, you have to do that. You have to stand. If you believe that you're right, you have to walk. But before you do that, just think about, can I do it better? Could I have done it better? So when a customer criticises you, look at it in a positive way. Just have a look at your procedures. You know, are you having a bad day? You know, you might be a bit down in your quality of work, but just don't blow the criticism off. Unless it's like a blatant rude criticism, just think about it and then perhaps adjust. And if you can't adjust, if the customer's not happy, well, you've got to part company. But I think it's important to understand that we all have bad days and don't feel bad about it. If you have a bad day, the next day is going to be better. Just remain positive. You know, I've had some shockers over the years. 4 decades I've been doing it, and not every day has been a 100% day. I've had some bad mistakes I've made. The one thing that I've always done in my business, if I've made a mistake, I'll own it. I'll admit that I'm wrong, and I'll adjust and I'll make it right. But I won't put my head in the sand and say, walk away and just say, well, if you don't like it, tough. I don't believe that's a good way to run a business. All right, viewers, thanks for watching. My fire is starting to go down now. I'll have to stoke it up, go and get myself a nice little cold one to drink beside it. Getting a bit cool down in Melbourne now. We're sort of first week of winter. Next video will be the rose pruning. Although you wouldn't believe our roses have still got blooms on at the moment, but I've got to start pruning because I've got so many to do for my customers. So I'll do mine first and we'll do that video next week. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if it's your first time, and love to hear your comments about criticism. You know, you might have a different slant. Perhaps you do it a better way than I do. Please share and a like. I really appreciate it. And thank you so much. I'll see you girls and guys in the next one. Thank you. Bye.